head injuries have gotten, TBIs specifically, have gotten a lot of attention in other sports, NFL, football, for example. We don't really talk about it a whole lot in motorsport, but it is, I don't know, maybe it's time that becomes a topic that we consider a little more closely.
Yeah, I'm not really a squirt ball fan. I don't really pay attention to them, but I was happy when football got all the attention, and because we ride mountain bikes and stuff like that, the amount of technology that flooded the market rather quickly, that it almost makes me angry how much technology is in my current mountain bike helmet. It far eclipses my $200 mountain bike helmet, $180 mountain bike helmet. The technology in that far eclipses my $1,000 motorcycle helmet because it has anti-rotational technology in it. My motorcycle helmet doesn't. It has different densities for compression and impact points. It has Reco. It has you can scan it and get all your health information right off the helmet. Like there's all these things that are being put into, that's been put into mountain bike helmets in other helmets that we're not seeing in the motorcycle industry yet. I mean, there's a couple companies who are being pretty progressive. 60 Helmets is putting anti-rotational technology. I have a Climb adventure helmet that uses Koroyd, which is these little hexagon straws instead of styrofoam. So it doesn't get more dense as it compresses. So it has the same level of give throughout an impact event.
So it collapses?
It collapses at the same rate, where styrofoam gets harder and harder to collapse as it goes. It stays the same density, and I kind of wish that we got that with other helmets.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the helmet technology part is very interesting. I know that you and I, we don't really talk about the specific brands of gear that we ride, but for sure I put priority on having a top brand for everything. Not because I think you need to have a name brand to have good protection, but I trust a name brand that's been around a long time. If you are a name brand and you've been around for a long time, it's unlikely you're going to just throw your reputation to the wind and make bad gear. And you'll probably also have the budget to engineer and research and develop good gear. The other thing, you bring up helmets though, the interesting thing with motorcycle helmets specifically is there's different safety rating systems. And I actually think that is a good thing and a bad thing. So there's DOT approved, which is
nonsense.
It's nothing. There's Snell, there's ECE, and now there's an FIM one. There's maybe more that I'm not even familiar with.
There was BSI for a while, but I think BSI and ECE are kind of the same thing. There's the Sharp system, which I think is also pretty much basically the ECE standard. It's a rating system.
Yeah. But I know I have, ever since it has come out. So one of the questions I've been asked before from people is, well, what's the best helmet? What's the safest helmet? Is it the $300 one or the $3,000 one? Well, all I can really tell you is what safety rating does it meet? And if this one meets a lower one and this one meets a higher one, then presumably this is the safer one, because that's all you can go off of. But if they both meet the same safety rating, a $400 helmet that's ECE or a $1,000 helmet that's ECE, it's still just ECE at the end of the day, right? So now they'll all make claims, and I promise in the comments there'll be anecdotes about what's what and which one's better. But at the end of the day, no one can point to anything factual other than the certification standards. So I was really excited when FIM came out with a higher standard. And it has a certain standard for the shell, composite shell, the foam, the different things about it had to be at a kind of a higher tier. And MotoGP and Moto2, those riders, World Superbike, I believe as well, if it's FIM sanctioned, you must wear an FIM helmet, period. Which, on a past podcast, you mentioned you won't buy a bike that the manufacturer doesn't race in GP because you love the sport. I love the fact that, hey, I won't buy a helmet that isn't FIM certified at this point. Not because I'm a MotoGP racer, but if there's a higher standard, I'm going to spend the money and have that. So I think the standard thing's a really interesting part. The downside of it, I think, is it probably precludes some innovation and some different engineering paths because they say, well, at the end of the day, your helmet has to meet these standards. So if you come up with a really clever solution that creates a lower acceleration on a crash or prevents rotational things like that, if that somehow damages your ability to pass that standard, it probably isn't going to get through, right? The helmet's never going to exist until the standard changes. So I don't know, the standard problem with helmets is, it's a good thing, I think, because it sets a standard, but it might actually hold us back.
It's a really deep topic, and I covered it in a video long ago that maybe should be revisited, re-explored. Because to your point, if it meets the standard, right, you don't have to buy a $10,000 helmet to get the same safety standard if it's in a $3,000 helmet. Now, Snell, Snell helmets is like the American, if you're racing in America, you need to have a Snell standard. And sometimes it can be a little misleading because where your rankings can sometimes come in American helmets might be failed inspections. And you can fail an inspection if the labels are wrong or the label's in the wrong place, and that'll bring your ranking down. Now, I personally do not agree with the Snell standard. The Snell standard measures two impacts at the exact same point. Now, I've been riding motorcycles for a long time. That doesn't really happen. And I think to survive two impacts at the same point, they have to make the shell stiffer. And what we're learning with all these other sports is that that may not necessarily be the right solution. So I actually order my helmets out of Europe to get the ECE standard from the same helmet. My Arai, which looks like an XD4 sold in America, actually came from Europe, so it has the ECE standard because I wanted the softer shell. And additionally, to the FIM point, not endorsed, I'm not sponsored by any of these people, I was really excited about the HJC that I just purchased that has the FIM standard because I feel it's my brain. It's who I am. It's everything that I know. Like learning how to tie my shoes the first time was hard enough. I don't want to have to learn to do it again. And just to your point, I cannot agree more completely. I am not scrimping on my helmet, and I replace them frequently. I replace them more often than I need to. And a little tidbit, what I like to do is a lot of times I like to buy a helmet that's 2 or 3 years old. You get it on discount. And then so I can replace my helmets more frequently, right? Because you get them cheaper. They really only have a 5-year lifespan because ozone and all these things break down the materials. And I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to be in a fresh helmet like more frequently because it's my head,